Yo, 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 what's going on, YouTube? It's your boy Nate the Great coming at you with another live. You already know if you're new to the channel, like, share, comment, and subscribe. To all the returning friends and family, you already know it's peace and blessings. I'm gonna give y'all some time to tune in because I know these notifications ain't go out. First things first, you already know. Hopefully, everybody having a blessed and productive Friday. Hopefully, everybody was smoothly able to get through the work week. I know for some of y'all, the kids are back in school already. Hopefully, your kids had a good week going back. For those that's in the city, we already know the kids is going back in the next, 2 weeks or so. So, Jared, what's going on, my guy? Top of the morning, top of the morning. But yeah, I know some of y'all trying to get things in order for school for at least for the ones in the city. Y'all trying to get stuff in order for the next couple weeks. Um, one thing you should be doing is just making sure your children are doing what's necessary for the school year. Appreciate everybody that tuned in for the last live stream. I know I've been in and out to a degree, but life been lifing, and when you're understaffed, yeah, get to that bag like you're supposed to. So, like I said, I'm gonna try to be more consistent. Like I said, and just lately you can't really be consistent when again you working either heavy hours or you just got a lot going on. Life does happen, especially for those content creators. So, but appreciate everybody that rocked out with the last conversation. It definitely was a good one. Shouts to everybody who was a part of the conversation. For those who might have missed it, I could definitely catch the replay. Hold on 1 second before I get crazy, because I already know myself. I already know. I want to delve into some things, right? Because I got some real questions. Ladies, I got to ask y'all this question. Do y'all only just breed women or do y'all breed men and women? The reason why I'm being kind of facetious with this question is because some of y'all deem deem yourselves the only, you know, breed females or just only be concerned with the females. But what about your sons? This is the thing. I'm gonna say this the best way possible. There are some of you parents, and I'm saying it again, parents, not just one, both, because some of the fathers is out here wilding too. There's no way you can allow your daughter to do certain things or be out at certain times of the night and not think about their safety. See, I'm gonna say this. We talk about deadbeat fathers, but we never talk about deadbeat mothers. And to be quite honest, either side could be a deadbeat. Any person that don't give a damn about their children's well-being, their safety, or even their livelihood is a deadbeat to me and irresponsible. And that's my opinion on it. Because if you claim you love your child and you would do anything and go to the ends of the earth for your child, then that also means you should be able to hold your children accountable when they're doing wrong. I'm gonna give a prime example, right? Um, I came across a situation while I was out and about last week, and it really is sad how the dynamics are. Like, you got some of these younger folks that want to be grown so badly, they want to be hanging with the older folks so badly, right? But nobody is sitting here saying you shouldn't be worried about trying to be with the adults. You need to be with people your age. You need to focus on school. You need to focus on something better than just trying to be grown. I seen a teen get upset with some people that she knew because they, they families is tight, you know. And the girl got mad because she couldn't go with the older ones to uh, a cookout or some sort of a barbecue or whatever the case is, right? I think it was a barbecue in the party. Either which way, she got upset because she couldn't go. My thing is, you're only 16. Everybody at that event is well over the age. You know, my fault, y'all. I had to double check something. But yeah, my thing is overall, how can you sit here and get upset because you couldn't go with the older crowd? You're a youngin'. And I think that's a problem now. Some of the younger folks think that they could be with all these older folks that's over 21, 25. No, you're only 16. Why would you want to go to a place, number one, you don't know? Number two, you don't know the people there. And if these people don't know you, who's to say they even going to let you in the event to begin with? Or let's just say if they already know that you're young. Because some of y'all already proven you young. Riaz, what's going on? Some of y'all show that you're young, right? So there's no way you could get upset. Anything under the age of 18 should be with their peers, not with older folks. Sorry to say it that way. It's true. Because again, we are in a world where there's unpredictability. See, again, we like to talk about keeping them safe and we got to get rid of these type of people in our community, et cetera, et cetera. But some of y'all allowing these same people or same set people to be around in certain situations that they shouldn't be in. Like even with your children in case. Your children should be worried about partying amongst people in their age, not people that's well over the age and that can actually purchase alcohol. Because that's where shit can go wrong. And I see that nowadays, like I said, the things that was getting frowned upon is getting idolized now. And it's sending a bad message. It really is. Because again, you are showing in your actions alone that you really don't care about your children. I'm sorry. And this is for those who need to hear it. So if it don't apply, let it fly. But yeah, how can you possibly say you love and care for your kids and you will go all out for your kids? But there's some of y'all that are allowing your kids to put themselves in dangerous situations. You not making sure that they home on time if they got a curfew. What happened to curfews? It seems like that's barely a thing now. Even down to the preteens, it seems like there's more and more kids out and about late hours of the night than they actually are home. I don't care if it is summertime. Unless y'all plan on doing some family events, your children under the age of 18 should be watched at all times. That's just like your teens might be out right now doing something they ain't supposed to be doing. What happens if you get that knock at the door? And it's either that situation that I'm speaking about, possibly identifying your child, or getting that call that your child been arrested. Y'all don't think about these things until it's too late or until something really does hit close to home. I think that's the saddest thing again, that some of y'all don't think about nothing until it's all said and done. Now, guess what? There's going to be a lot of pain and suffering going on. The pain and suffering is going to start because, again, you allowed your offspring to be into situations that they not built for. Like again, how can this girl be mad when, to be quite honest, you shouldn't be mad. You are the youngest trying to hang out with the oldest. It don't work that way. And it's always been that way. Every time you do get groups or you get certain people who feel like they want to be with the in crowd so badly, they want to be with the older folks so badly, they lose a portion of themselves or what's left of their childhood or what's left of their teenage years because they busy trying to chase being grown. I believe in that curiosity killed the cat because it did on multiple occasions. And I also believe that again, when your children are that young, they should be amongst their peers. If they're gonna be around older folks, it better be the family or people that you know and trust, especially if y'all having events and stuff like that. That's different. But hanging out with them, drinking with them, smoking with them, no, not even supposed to be enticing that. Especially when you do know that they're young. And some of y'all will know these young ones is young and still don't give a fuck. You will still sit here pass them something that you know you shouldn't be passing them. Some of y'all try to, you try to save face when it's something that happens with yours, but you ain't had no problem or you was ready, willing, and able to let somebody else's kid slip up. But when it's involving yours, y'all try to go all the war. Don't make sense. You're gonna keep that energy, keep that all around the board. You can't just solely just think about your children at the end of the day when it comes to some situations. You gotta think about other people's children. Let's keep it real. Like for some of y'all, would you want somebody trying to peer pressure your niece or your nephew into doing something that you know for a fact they don't want to do or they don't feel comfortable doing? But hey, I've seen this happen. You have saying I'm saying this. There's certain situations that's happening now. I'm not gonna lie to you. You can't just fully blame the youngins. Some of the adults out here doing the same exact fuck shit. Y'all enticing people to do things that you know just ain't gonna sit well, or it could have some form of a negative impact, but you don't care. Just like some of y'all sending these young folks out here on crash dummy missions. And how is that beneficial towards any growth or prosperity amongst the community when you sending those young ones out there to crash out? Some of y'all glorifying some of the things that they're getting into or that they're doing, but you're not telling them or you're not schooling them to the actual game of things. See, like prime example, it might not be your children, but you better look at it from a standpoint that could be your niece, your nephew, your cousin. You know, you got to be more reasonable and more responsible. See, you be reasonable in some degree because again, you don't want them to rebel, right? But the same token, you also still got to put in that necessary work when need be. Because, like prime example, if your daughters or your sons is hanging out with people twice their age, you don't think that's a problem? You don't think that's something you should step in and say, "Yo, what the hell's going on here?" Like, correct that. It's time for some of y'all to really start correcting the things that your children are doing. Again, it's called accountability. Hold them accountable for things, and especially if they lying to you. Cause some of y'all, your kids is lying straight to your face, and you still rewarding them the way Like they did something good. No, they ain't do nothing good. They just lied to your face. So, it has to be something at some point. Like I was just saying earlier, how could you be upset because you can't hang with the older crowd? But then let's be real and let's be factual about these things. If you would have went and God forbid something would have happened, then what? Now you have no choice but to not just involve the people that's with you. Now you got to go with your parents, right? See, we've had situations when young ones, men and women, trying to be grown, be in certain spots, and it didn't turn out right. So I would always say this for the older crowd to a degree. If you got ones who were maybe 3, 4 years under you, once you hit 21, even if you got some friends who might be younger than you, there's things you're not going to be able to do with them because they're too young. And vice versa. If you younger than some of the people you've been around, guess what? Once they hit 21, you're not going to be able to do certain things if you're still underage. But again, this is where the parents need to be more eyes on with everything, especially when your kids are becoming teenagers, because this is the most dangerous stages of life, at least in my opinion. The reason why I say it's dangerous is because guess what? If you're not taking accountability, if you're not holding your kids accountable, if you're not teaching them the ways that need to be taught, 9 out of 10, guess what? You're not educating your child on sexual education. Your child could come back pregnant, or your son could come back and tell you he got somebody pregnant. And then now what? Some of y'all always cry, I ain't trying to be no grandmother, or I ain't trying to be no grandfather before that. Well, you better make sure your kids is out here doing the right thing. Because that's another thing. Some of these people be with these older crowds just to get into the things that, again, they shouldn't be getting into. They not mentally nor spiritually ready for none of that. Again, rushing to be grown. And that's the problem right now, I see. Some of y'all not even watching what your daughters is wearing outside. And it's the same thing with some of your children. You're not even watching your sons, making sure they ain't wearing none that shouldn't be worn. Like, prime example, no way you going to tell me you see your son going outside on a day that is possibly reaching 100. All black on, hoodie on? Really? Pooh Shiesty mode for real still going in effect? Not trying to be funny. I'm just saying. It's no way. It's no way. Or you just not watching what they wearing, period. You're not watching their movements. You're not watching the things you should be really paying attention for. Because you got to remember, parents, you was once a child yourself. You was once growing up yourself. Come on now. And with certain things your parents wasn't going to allow to happen. And they wasn't going to allow you to not take accountability. But it seems like nowadays you can't keep them accountable for nothing without it being something. And that's a problem. That's a big problem. It's like, again, some of y'all trying to be friends with your kids instead of, again, laying down the boundaries the way it's supposed to be laid down. There's no way, again, you could tell me you're not checking to make sure your sons and your daughters are not getting into things that could possibly be life altering, not just for you, but for them as well. Just Jay, baby. I already know if y'all just tuned in at the like button. I ain't gonna be on here too crazy. I just want to chime in and do like a nice little session real quick. Since I ain't really been that busy, at least today. Yeah, you hear you hear the sis. You hear my voice. But yeah, I want to chime in with the people too. As I know, like I said, it's been a minute. I've been in and out of this, but hey, you're doing what you got to do. Hey, can't stop for nothing. But overall, again, this is sad situation and a sad time we living in. Because since when has it ever been a problem to again do what's necessary for your offspring or do what's necessary for your family to keep them protected, keep them safe? Now, again, this girl got a whole attitude. Again, you're 16. Everybody that you want to go with is 21 and over. I get it. Y'all all tied, through family bonds and all of that shit. But again, there's just certain things you're not going to be able to do because there's going to be alcohol there 9 out of 10. There probably going to be some marijuana or whatever else be going on, right? Why subject somebody to that when you know they're not mentally ready for that? They definitely not physically ready for that. So these are the things y'all got to think about. But then you got some people who will still sit here and say, well, they parents or this person already know they smoking or they know that they drinking, so you might as well. No. And that's the problem now. I remember at one point, you couldn't go around the older folks and talking about, let me hit the blunt. Let me drink some of that yak. Yo, let me pour me a, yo, man, listen, they kick you the hell out quickly. Like, who is you? Put you in your place, not once, but twice. They're going to put you in your place by letting you know where you went wrong at. And then they going to have your parents do the same exact thing for even asking or trying that situation. But nowadays, yeah, some of y'all just don't care. It's, oh, well, give it to them. Oh, let them get it. Oh, here, let them hit it. And that's the problem now. This is why, again, some of them ain't even respecting the older folks because the older folks is pushing them in the wrong directions of life. See, again, some of y'all not even trying to really be honest and tell them, you better enjoy every moment of your young childhood and your teenage years because when you become an adult, things are going to be different. So again, it's just, yeah, you do what's necessary. You protect them until they are able to do certain things on their own. But then even still, your job as a parent is never done until the day you close your eyes. And even when you close your eyes, your duty still ain't over because you still could be watching over your young ones. So again, that's life. That's life plus. And again, you see a lot of this. Like, it's hard to go to certain functions because again, you gotta always use your discernment. And it's sad in some cases because again, you shouldn't be pushing these young ones to be grown before their time. Just like you shouldn't be pushing certain views and certain agendas on them as well, neither. Because again, there were certain things that wasn't pushed on us. So why in this generation now is being pushed to the max on these ones? We wonder why some of them are confused. We wonder why some of them don't have respect. We wonder why some of them are not excelling at the speed that they should be excelling at. Now, one of the things I seen recently, and I gotta really check for real, but it looked like it was dead on about the teacher crying because students couldn't read past a certain, or they just couldn't put sentences together. And not to be funny, in some cases, there are some people who are dedicated to teaching and educating. And yeah, they will get emotional, especially when you're doing a job and then it seems like the job you're doing is still not working. You wanna know why it's not working in some cases? It's not working because everybody's working together. Everybody's working against each other. Just like in the community now, everybody's working against each other. When should be working together so we could preserve what's left of the future or what could be the next big things in the future. Some of y'all talk about investments, but do y'all really invest in your children? I mean, do you actually invest in your children? And again, this is for those who need to hear that. So if it don't apply, let it fly. But again, keep it a buck. People always talk about financial investments and just saving, but what about investing in your children and saving them from possible doom? These are things again that people don't want to talk about or they don't want to hear about, but it needs to be brought up every time because it really is sad what we've come to. We've allowed certain things that was a no-no to become a yes. And the things that were a go, it's no longer a go. See, maybe I'm super old school because yeah, I come from that. Because I can remember there was things that wasn't being tolerated at all from parents, no even family members. But I'm gonna have that whole conversation on another date. But overall, it's sad. How can you get upset because you can't go with the older crowd? Parents, you need to really make sure your kid is being around the right people. And even if they are around older folks in your family, make sure they're not getting into nothing they ain't supposed to be getting into. We all have a responsibility. That would be like me having my younger cousins with me, and I pass one of them a blunt. Or I pass them some liquor. What kind of mindset would I have to be in to even allow that to happen? See, I wouldn't allow that to happen because my moms and anybody that knew my moms didn't allow it to happen. So I'm only repeating the cycle that was shown to me. A lot of y'all again trying to entice these younger ones to be with the older crowds or hey, you go hang with them. Do you really know what's going on though? You're not even paying attention to their friends as you speak now. You don't know what their friends could be into. And now your child is possibly getting into those same things. But again, it seems like y'all want to be friends instead of being parents. And I gotta call that out today. I'm not gonna be on here too crazy, but I gotta call it out today. Because there's no way you could be upset that you ain't able to go do something with an older crowd. When again, you should be worried about finishing off school. You should be worried about trying to educate yourself and be something better. You should be focusing on not trying to be a possible statistic of being a young parent. But this is why, again, parents need to really make sure you are watching everything. Got this, baby. What's going on, sis? Like, come on now. Let's keep it a buck. How many parents in here or parents around would actually feel comfortable with other people, older folks smoking with your kid, especially when your kid is not even old enough to buy a pack of cigarettes? Let's get this right. Like, come on. Again, can't blame the whole young generation for what's going on when you got people that's from the older generation that's screwing up just as badly. And nobody sees that. First things first, especially when you do have young women that are coming up, At a certain time frame, they should be in the house because there's nothing good going on. Like I said, unless there's work involved, and they old enough to handle themselves somewhat. No, like I said, it's crazy how you could look and see how some people wear their kids out all hours of the night and not care about their safety. It doesn't matter if you are with them. At a certain time, if I know I got young ones, they going home. We done been out all day. Guess what? We going home. It ain't no we still out 2, 3 unless we coming back from a real family fun filled day, nigga. Excuse my language, y'all, but shoot, ain't doing that because it wasn't done with me. That's at least the way I would be doing it. I can't speak for everybody else, but me personally, not. Once a certain time frame comes, time to pack it up, y'all. Let's go. Because again, you never know what could possibly happen, especially in them on them late nights. So you just gotta start using better discernment. That's it. Like it shouldn't be no second guess. When you know something is wrong, especially when there's younger people involved in the situation, parents and even people within the community that consider themselves or always call themselves unks and aunts, y'all need to be doing the same thing that should be done. How are we gonna repeat the actual cycle that's supposed to be repeated if we teaching them the opposite? So you telling me it's cool for you to prime example? I seen a situation where these young ladies done snuck out, took their parents' car, and that car was literally on somebody's feet, wheels still spinning and all, right? God forbid if something else would have took place when that happened and they lost control, all of them could have lost their lives. Could you imagine the devastation that would have had on every last family of the parties involved? See, there's things that people overlook too. You got some people who are still sneaking out, trying to get a car or do some sort of whatever or go joyriding. Like things can happen. You need to make sure that your children are not, you know, getting wrapped up in that type of scenario. Because it could be that one time they decide to sneak out, and that could be their last time sneaking out forever. God forbid. Who wants that? You say you love your children and you invest in your children, and you're supposed to keep them safe at home, keep your investment safe, right? Ain't that what you're supposed to do? So you gotta watch everything. See, I don't care what terms I break this down on. It could be intellectual, it could be hood, it could be both. It's still not negating from the actual message at hand. Imagine how that would feel. Your child sneaks out with the wrong group of people, and now something does happen, God forbid. Either they get locked up or possibly never come home again. How you gonna feel about that? This is why I said your children are your investments because they are going to keep the family lineage going, right? So again, you need to be making sure that your investments are safe. And again, watch everything. How you say watch your quarterly reports and all of that. Yeah. Make sure your portfolio is nice. See, I keep talking about investments, but you're not investing in the future of the ones who are going to be here when we're long gone. Sad. And I'm sorry, y'all, but it's sad because I can remember again a time when you had the older folks and even the elders in the community, they wasn't tolerating a lot of that shit. Again, we couldn't think to say, yo, old head, let me hit that blunt. Yo, let me hit that, huh? Yo, let me get a sip of that. Let me get a taste of that. Yo, what y'all doing over here? Couldn't be a part of those things. We would probably get a literal boot in our asses and go on about our business. Because that's how it was. Nowadays, y'all subjecting them to any and everything. You're not paying attention to their social media accounts. You're not paying attention to what they actually are doing outside the streets. No watchful eyes. And that's the problem now. And this is how you still get some of the situations that you get now. But it's just gotten worse than that. The parents are becoming younger and younger. Again, people not using a better discernment. How can you say you love and care about them when you pushing them in a direction that's leading to a path of self-destruction? Again, you're contradicting yourselves. And once you keep doing that, guess what? Now, this is where all the trauma begins. Some of y'all parents need to make sure your children are not sneaking out and not getting into things that you know for a fact could be life altering. You don't want to be a grandparent before a certain age. You got to make sure your children are doing right until they get a certain age to make their own decisions and actually able to take care of themselves. It's not just about the young ladies, it's also about the young fellas too. That's what I'm saying. Where's the guidance at? And there are still some people out here in these communities who are actually still going by the code, which is honorable and respectable because guess what? It's hard to, especially in this age when everybody, again, is allowing everything to happen. Everything that was right is wrong. Everything that was wrong is right. And we need to reverse that carefully, but we need to reverse that immediately. Because look at what's going on now. And I would say for some of you older folks out there who are doing your thing out there, just be mindful of what you're doing and make sure that the people that you keep company are over the age. Because in this day and age now, you got the young ones. I got somebody that works at it, work security at these music events and stuff like that. And the amount of people that still be trying to come in with fake IDs, knowing that you ain't supposed to even be there, it's sad. So again, we already know this was the thing that was going on back in the day, but even at some points, they had to hit that reality wall. Like, you're not going to be able to do these things. You might as well just stop trying to rush to be grown. Enjoy your life while you can as a young one, because when you get older, yeah, you got to worry about bills, responsibilities, and everything else. Things that, again, you're not really ready for now. See, it's good to have these conversations because, again, this is a person that's giving you clear view on what they see every day in and day out. Again, it's just things that need to change because before it's all said and done, and before you end up having to deal with a tragedy that you don't want to deal with so soon, you need to get these kids in order. Don't care. You need to. You need to sit down and really have these discussions with them. See, the things that used to keep these families whole ain't keeping them whole no more because it's not happening. Nobody's sitting at the dinner table for real and actually having conversations about the day. Nobody's really caring if their children are safe or not. Some of them are not even caring if their kids are doing things they ain't supposed to be doing. So This is where we have become. And it's crazy. It's exactly where it's become, like a real major danger. It is a danger. Because again, you not paying attention to your young one. They decided go out on a late night and don't come back home forever. How you gonna take that? How you gonna be able to live with yourself? That's a burden that no parent or guardian should ever have to worry about. Just gotta think about that. Prime example, some of y'all really not setting curfew time for your young ones to be in the crib. And even when you set a curfew to a degree, they still out and about in other people's houses or doing whatever. When you set a curfew, that means you're supposed to be in this household by this time, no later than. So I can remember you had to be in when them street lights came on. Didn't matter what time. As soon as they was on, get your butt in the house. And especially during the school year. I know some of y'all, again, your children are going to school already. And for those that's in the city, I know we going back in the next couple weeks. The thing with me is just, again, pay attention to what's going on. Because there are some things that could be alleviated. Stop allowing certain young ones to be around older folks that they shouldn't be around. Especially if they're not doing nothing but influencing them on negativity. Again, pay attention to your investments. Your children are always going to be your main investments. Those are your offspring. And those are the future of the family lineage. So again, protect your investments. What's going on? You already, that's all I'm saying. If we want to talk about investments, invest in your children. Make sure they learn something. Invest in them. Make sure they learn something. Make sure they become more than what they can become.
Johnny worked for the front.
Yeah, I know.
Got the buzzer thing.
Yeah, I know. The initiative is trash right here. I'm trying not to break this motherfucker. You already broke. Riders, baby. What's going on, sis? Top of the morning, after Friday, to everybody pulling in. But yeah, keeping in the buck right now. Keeping your investment safe is always going to be the prime option. So why stop now? You think you got a sure thing because, all right, you might have instilled some things in them and, all right, they listening to those things, but no, they need to be listening overall and paying close attention. And that's on all angles. I can't sit here and consider myself an honorary uncle to anybody, and I'm not guiding them in the right direction at least. You want to live your life the way you want to live your life. I can't tell you how to do it, but I can give you some advice on things that you shouldn't do, especially if you plan on looking at the bigger picture of things. The bigger picture, again, should be your child's safety. And when your children are teenagers, they need to be amongst their peers, not amongst older folks, and definitely not amongst younger folks. There's some of these young ones hanging with younger ones. This is what I'm saying. Like, things that we know we didn't really tolerate back in the day, tolerating it now, and it's just really getting dangerous. Again, just imagine your child decides to sneak out, go out with the wrong crowd, and possibly get sexually attacked. Right? Now what? now we got a problem, right? Or let's say if your son decided to go out with the wrong crowd on a late night and actually get into some form of crime with now, they might not possibly be coming home for life. Like, you gotta think about these things. There's always some sort of scapegoat, or there's always some form of excuse to not hold people accountable for what's going on. Again, your kids are your investments. You should be making sure your children ain't out here committing no type of crimes that could alter their future. Because once they get certain things on their record, that's for life. And there's no changing that. No matter how much change you do in life, once those things stick on you, that's it. Ain't no going back. Or you just gonna have people that's just gonna be leery. And if you do get an opportunity, you better hope to God they don't mess that shit up. I'm keeping it raw and uncut today, and I'm sorry, but there are some things that really need to change. Yo, some things that need to change. You consider yourself a aunt or uncle in the community. We know the aunts and the uncles in the communities wasn't allowing a lot of the dumb shit. And if they had to come sit us down, they was gonna sit us down, even if we was grown. Yo, come here, let me speak to you, nephew. Like, come on now. We don't even get that no more. Like I said, it seems like it's everybody for self until something dangerous happens close to home. That's what I'm saying. Like, at one point, there was literally eyes everywhere. So this way, your children wasn't getting into nothing they weren't supposed to be getting into. And for the ones that slipped through the cracks, that was a small number, a small percentage compared to what it is now. Again, when you out and about, I could tell you from what I got to put the camera on to show you. It's crazy how in some cases, these young ones, not even 14, 15, 16, still sitting out all out, even during the school year, sitting out to 2, 3, 4 in the morning. There's no way. There's no fucking possible way. Like, what are they up this early for, or what are they still doing up? Don't they got school? Don't they? That's what I'm saying. I don't want to hear about parents just be working and they don't. Nah, shit is an excuse. Because I knew parents who was working multiple jobs, and guess what? They knew where the fuck their kids was. They knew what they was doing, and even if they didn't know something right off the rip, they found out at some point. So, what's the excuse now? Like I said, it don't seem like y'all worried about your investments. You just think, oh well, I'm gonna lay down certain things. They gonna abide by it, and everything else, it is what it is. No, lead them in the right direction, point them in the right direction, and just constantly build on that situation right there. Like, y'all hate to hear truth. And I think that's the problem now in this generation. Y'all hate to hear truth. Don't matter who is being spoken from, y'all hate to hear truth. I'm sorry, but at what point do we say, you know what, we got to stop normalizing certain things? You know what we got to stop just being a part of that. Because again, you working against what you trying to create. You trying to create a balance for the future, right? You're trying to make sure that the future offspring of your family is in the right positions so they can keep on passing down the blueprints, right? Like, come on, man. So at what point do you say, you know what? The people that I know, that I trust, that I really consider family, yo, listen, if you see my child doing something, let me know, son. When we get back to that. Because I can remember at one point back in the day, even if the older folk did say, nah, I ain't gonna say nothing, but you gonna say something. They was holding your ass accountable to that too. So I can remember a situation where young boy thought he was slick. Didn't even know his uncle was out there. Uncle seeing him and said, yeah. So you know what happens next, right? The sad part was, he's like, yep, I already know. Couldn't fight that. Why? Because a situation happened before where got caught out there. So it's either you gonna tell him or I'm gonna tell him. And if I tell them, you definitely gonna be uptight. So make the decision on your own. That was holding people accountable. And in some cases, guess what? Even when we give you the option, you still might say, nah, let me let them know. Just in case we don't tell them. So now I know what it is. That was a way of holding people accountable. That was also a way of holding people to their word. Oh, okay, you said you going to tell them? All right, well, let's see if you actually tell them. We ain't on that level no more. So it don't seem like it just seemed like, oh, well, fuck it. It ain't my child. Fuck it. It ain't my family. I don't care. So I'm saying it's time for a real sit down. It seemed like every generation need to really come together and really just really have this discussion because, again, at some point we have dropped the ball and it's become worse and worse. Like I said, I had somebody the other day get uptight because I didn't pass them something that, again, I'm not passing you nothing. I don't care who you are. I don't care if I know that person forever. They know how I give it up. You're not getting nothing or partaking in nothing I'm doing. You ain't of age. You upset? Oh, well, go find somebody else that's going to actually allow that. I'm not going to be doing it. And that should be the mindset for a lot of you adults out there. Stop allowing this shit to be normal. Stop thinking that it's cool to be friends with your kids. You over here allowing them to party, be out all hours of the night. They being around adults they shouldn't be around. They in the conversations they shouldn't be involved in. No. Get back to setting boundaries again. Because it ain't saying you can't live your life when you're an adult, but you got responsibilities now. And your responsibility is keeping your investment safe, which is your children. And before I do get up out of here, again, don't let nothing that I said go over your heads. It's a sad time we living in. And again, I can remember even adults being held accountable when they wasn't holding their children accountable. What happened to that? But see, people get in their emotions, they get upset, they want to fight and argue. When again, you can't fight and argue about truth. Again, the problem is y'all scared to hear it because it hits a nerve. And to be quite honest, it's supposed to hit a nerve. Because if you know you ain't doing what you're supposed to be doing, that's your opportunity to get it together before it becomes too late to do anything about it. You start from when they're young, and especially if you're still bringing kids into the world. You gotta remember, you still have a responsibility and an obligation, and that's for life. And until you do close your eyes for good, you should be making sure your children are in the best possible positions for life. How you gonna say you love them if you leaving them holding the ball and they don't know nothing? Not even a trade, a skill, nothing. Some of them can barely even read or write past third grade level, and they already getting to a point of almost becoming adults. Like, I'm sorry to say it this way. At some point, y'all all gotta wake up and wisen up. You gotta start bringing back order and balance for real. Start making sure your children are in the best circumstances and not the worst of them. Overall, just wanted to have this conversation. I'll be petty this morning and drop this link, but I ain't gonna hold you like I said too long. Just felt like this conversation was needed this morning. You know, again, at some point, as adults, start holding adults accountable. As parents, start holding parents accountable. And guess what? Start holding these young ones accountable as well too. If you let them go throughout life thinking that their actions ain't gonna have consequences, you're already failing. So get that in check real quick. But I appreciate everybody that tuned in this morning. Wasn't gonna hold y'all long. Just wanted to chime in with the people, see what's going on, and just talk about a couple things. Because again, I question still remains. You know, are you really paying attention to what your children are doing out here? And do you really care about your investments? Do you care about keeping your investments safe? Your children will always be your investments. Don't ever for a minute take your foot off the gas. You keep going and you keep doing the necessary things again to bring peace and order. But overall safety. Like I said, I'm most likely to be back tonight. If not, I'll see about tomorrow. Uh, I do owe y'all something again. So yeah. Overall though, just had to have that conversation because there's certain things that some of y'all should be careful for. Again, there's still a thing such as teen pregnancy or sexual assaults. There's still a thing called sex trafficking, kidnapping. You name it, still out there. This is why, again, at some point, everybody needs to come together and really pay attention and stay focused on things that don't look right and don't seem right. And in some cases, again, for the betterment of the future generations, we got to get back to accountability as a whole. We got to move the ball in the right direction, y'all. Can't keep making all of these careless plays and careless passes. We've seen too many already. In order for that cycle to stop, again, got to get back to the olden times. Y'all can say what you want to say, but there were certain things in the olden times that kept families whole. Miss Chicago, baby. Top of the morning, sis. Top of the morning. I think that's something that people should really think about. At what point are we really going to sit down and have these necessary talks? It's time. And despite the fact that some people don't want to have these talks, it's necessary because, again, we got to create a balance again. Y'all can make fun of the old traditions or y'all can say what y'all want. But in some cases, those old traditions kept everything whole. In this generation, not everything is becoming whole. It really is sad, but hey, at some point, it will resonate, and some of the people will actually waking up and rising up when the time is right. But until then, gotta keep having these talks. But yeah, I'll most likely be back later. You know what? I might be doing something later on, so y'all get another notification at some point. But overall, I'm gonna continue this conversation definitely tomorrow too. Could be a morning or afternoon one. And I got a few things to do before the plantation later. So overall, appreciate everybody that rocked out. Appreciate everybody that shared out. Those celebrating birthdays this weekend, another year and another blessing. Keep creating memories. Enjoy every moment of your day. If you was able to see another year in good health and good spirits, give your praises where it's due. But yeah, those might just be popping in now. Definitely catch this replay. So I'll definitely continue this convo, and again, the link will be dropped in case anybody want to chime in on it. But overall, just want to chime in with y'all and make sure everybody was good. So get my ass up out of here. It's time to be responsible again. But overall, hopefully y'all enjoy the rest of your mornings. I already know it's afternoon in certain spots. Top of the evening, and oh yeah, happy Saturday to everybody. Further, yeah, I know. I still need my lottery numbers for tomorrow today. Yeah, I need those future numbers. So overall, y'all enjoy yourselves, and I'll definitely see y'all later on. If y'all was new to the channel, like, share, comment, and subscribe. Shout out to the replay game. Shout out to the Shadow Mafia and the Shadow Babies. Y'all know what it is, baby. For everybody that was in attendance this morning, y'all already know that love is love, and they'll be reciprocated as such. I don't know how to be fake. All I can do is give you real. That's all I'm gonna do is give you real topics and real builds. Oh wait, before I do get up out of here too, yeah, it's another conversation I'm about to bring up, and I'm going in depth and I'm going deep with it. So these next couple of lives, like I said, those links will be up, and everybody is more than welcome to bring their views and opinions to the panel if they want. I think it's about that time for me to go back into the in-depths. And that means we're going to be sitting here longer. But guess what? These conversations still going to be strong. But y'all stay safe. Keep that third eye open. Until the next live, we out of here. Peace and blessings.